All right, I think what we'll do is we'll just get started here. How's our day going so far? Is it a good Wednesday? All right, I hear a yeah out there. What? Okay. Okay. All right. So I do want to give you a good chunk of the day to work on this. So again, like I've said, Tuesday and Wednesday are kind of like the big research kind of days, and it's very well possible you're going to start putting it together here. Remember, this is going to be due Monday. But also, I have been periodically updating the grades because this hex semester is just motoring by. And next week, it's going to be week 4 already, and this is only a 6-week hex semester. So it's very important that you do stay on top of the stuff here, all right? And so with that, studying authoritarian states, we are looking at different political systems, and we've looked at extreme left and right-wing style of governments, and then also trying to think about our own political system in the process. We've been focusing on dictators, it seems like. And so is it possible here, looking at this prompt, looking at this question, is dictatorship always wrong, or is it possible to create a benign dictatorship? Right? So I think to answer that, we have to think about, words like dictatorship and benign. I mean, what is a dictatorship? Can someone take a risk here and tell me what they think a dictatorship is? We've been studying it, either at home or here. What do we got? Okay, so you got an example of Adolf Hitler, but let's talk about if we had to put together a definition of it without GTS in it. Okay, one leader in control of the government. Okay. And so when we look at that, they're in control of it. Now I think when we say like dictatorship, how do we usually describe that control? Absolute. Okay, that's a good word. All right. So then what about the word benign? What kind of definition could we give on that word benign? Not harmful. All right. So not harmful, threatening dictatorship.
But it also has to benefit them. We feel like benign specifically means good, not just like you would have to actually be good.
Okay. But sometimes when I think of good, I also think of the word benevolent as well. All right. So benign or benevolent. All right. So is dictatorships always wrong, or is it possible to create a benign dictatorship? It's not possible. All right. Why would you say that? That was very quick. Not possible.
Because you cannot have one person controlling every aspect of government, even if they're doing a good job. Because to be able to have a functioning society, you need to have controversy. You need to have like multiple opinions and viewpoints for it to be a good government for the society. So having one viewpoint being the main viewpoint, not a good way to function for government or society.
Okay. All right. So, and in a dictatorship, it tends to be a single party state. Tends to be that way. So, multiple views are not welcomed in a dictatorship. So, benign dictatorships would be very difficult to find and perhaps even maybe to last. Right? Yes.
I think they're also like they have some like really big weaknesses in terms of like, because like if the dictator like dies, oftentimes you get like a huge like issue where they don't know who to put in power next.
Yes.
And that just opens the country up for immediately like some sort of like revolution or like civil war, and it's so unstable.
And that's a good point. We have some examples where, in the case of the death of know, and the death of Vladimir Lenin, or even the death of Joseph Stalin, it seems to be a power struggle. And that power struggle is not necessarily clean. It does create chaos. All right. There are times, though, if we look back in our study of history, there are times where it's possible that you could find temporary dictatorships, or moments where it does look like the leader is wielding extreme power because out of necessity, because of the conditions, the time. Look at ancient Rome, and you have they appoint a dictator to lead them through a crisis, and then that dictator steps down when the crisis is over. You look at, we had talked about FDR, all right? The amount of power the guy wielded in the beginning. He took over in 1933. And, but still, he had different views. And he had to navigate, and he had to negotiate with these different views. And he wasn't going to get this unlimited wielding of power. It was going to be very short, and he needed to utilize it well. His first 100 days in office was a flurry, but eventually he's going to have to work within the system. Work within the system. Okay, so dictatorships. When I used to teach political science, we always inevitably, there was an activity we had done, and you needed to recreate a governmental system after a disaster had occurred. And it was, you know, the premise was either it was a man-made disaster or a natural disaster totally wiped out systems. And inevitably, it seemed like the vast majority of the systems that were being created were authoritarian or dictatorship-like in the beginning. But then it's like, all right, how long is this dictatorship going to last? Is there a transition period? And usually they say when law and order is restored. Well, how long does it take to restore order? And so is that going to be short-term or long-term? So things of that nature. All right. Well, good. Thank you for that discussion. It was good. So we're working on our authoritarian case study. We went over a few things yesterday of some general parameters of it. Is there any other additional questions or concerns related to some of the components? So we're looking for the rise and consolidation and maintenance of power, and then their decline or fall, or how it ends. But then also you're making a case on why this person is a totalitarian. If you're doing Fidel Castro, and why is this person worthy of being a totalitarian? And that's where those characteristics come into play here. Don't forget about the learner profile in there as well. Okay, and we talked about time yesterday on how long this should be. All right, so if there are any questions, make sure that you reach out and ask. If you can't find information about your authoritarian, please ask. I'll help and find information there as well. If you need help putting the bibliography together, again, ask, and I will try to help out to the best of my ability. All right, so with that, I'm going to cut you loose. Those at home, you can stay on, or those here, let's work on it.